Wall Street reform, the topic of discussion today at a conference hosted by law firm Labaton Sucaro in Midtown Manhattan. One of the speakers at the event is former SEC Chief Accountant Lynn Turner. He is now serving as senior advisor to LECG, which is an economic and forensic consulting firm. We're pleased to have him join us live from the conference. Welcome, Lynn.
Hey, it's great to be with you today, Lori.
So on the topic of Wall Street reform, you said what the White House is proposing is, quote, regulation light. Explain why.
Well, there's some things in the administration's package, such as credit rating agencies, where they lack some key components that are in other legislation. Senator Jack Reed, for example, would give investors the right to hold credit agencies accountable when they mislead them. This administration doesn't. Others would like to see the type of derivatives that AIG got into more heavily regulated. This administration doesn't do that either. So on some key, very critical components, they really don't get the type of regulation in place that might prevent a recurrence.
Now, the president is pushing his reform proposals today at the G20 summit. Would these proposals, though, work on a broader global scale?
I don't think so. Again, I think you got to get some fundamentals into the regulation. You got to get enhanced transparency around what Wall Street and the banks are doing so the market can discipline themselves. And you got to get much greater accountability for the executives, for the boards, for the people that are doing these transactions that have become so destructive. Without that accountability and without that transparency, it just will not occur.
The White House, even House Financial Services Chair Barney Frank, are apparently retreating on regulation proposals. You gave us some ideas of what's needed. Can you expound upon that? What specifically, what types of reform do we want to see? What changes do you want to see?
Well, I think in the credit derivative area, you really got to get to where these things are cleared through a much more public, much more transparent vehicle, some type of clearinghouse, to where the regulators really understand what's going on and can measure that and stay on top of it. The credit rating agencies have got to become accountable for their ratings, and the information that goes into those ratings needs to become much more transparent as well.
Is there a good model out there, a regulatory body to emulate?
No, I think since neither us nor Europe really have had a system that was adequate, and in fact we all know this is a global crisis, and no one's system, be it in Australia, be it in the UK, continental Europe or here, no one's systems work. So we're really going back to ground zero and creating something from scratch here.
What is the solution? Let's talk about bankers' pay. Do you like the idea of correlating it to risk as the White House is proposing?
I think giving investors a say on the pay is a good step. I think the ability to change out directors would be a good step. I think if people really had wanted to do something with bankers' pay, they would have said, hey, look, these executives just didn't get the job done, and would have taken them out when we had to bail them out. Anyone that's run a bank into the ground so badly that the only way it can survive is with taxpayers' money, you know, I just don't see how those people keep their jobs. And the government could have sent a very clear message that those people weren't up to the job and should have been removed. Absent that, I think we got to go back and put some governance and oversight in and some accountability by giving investors a bigger role in the board of directors.
Overall here, if we don't get any type of financial systems reform, how vulnerable do you think we are to, say, another crisis?
You know, I don't think we're going to get the type of financial reforms we need. The power of the Wall Street and banking lobbyists is just phenomenal, and we're seeing it. Members of Congress see an election coming up next year, and they all want to keep their jobs. They're going to do whatever they have to do to keep their jobs. That means raising as much money from this group of lobbyists. So I don't see it really taking place and really happening next year. And as a result, I think the markets will take off, and within the next 10 years, we could see some sort of repeat.
Confidence is playing a significant role in helping foster better economic and market conditions. Your comments today are a little alarming. You know, it sounds like we can't even have faith today in our financial system, even after TARP and the other government programs and stimulus.
Yeah, I think it does raise some serious questions. We're seeing the market get ahead of itself already again. We're seeing very exotic products being reintroduced in the market already by Wall Street, such as the securitization of life insurance, where Wall Street makes more money if people die quicker. So I do think there's concern there. And what I'm seeing is that the retirement systems, the public retirement systems, are having a much tougher time coming up with the money to pay their benefits. I think this is going to be a struggle for a while.
Lynn Turner, former chief accountant at the Securities and Exchange Commission, thank you for your time.